Hey, this is Matt once again. I don't know why I pause and try to do a Fonzie expression. Hey! This is a paid request from Broad Stipe. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, video game stuff, playthroughs, re-reviews, PayPal's usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I also have a Cash app. If people want to know that, feel free to ask. Hollow Man 2 is the movie of today, which I saw once a long time ago. Did not remember much about it. And here's the thing, I like the first Hollow Man. I think the first Hollow Man is actually a really underrated movie. Because I like the idea of taking all this money and fancy special effects and great actors like Kevin Bacon and Josh Brolin, you got Elizabeth Shue, and making just a bloody nudity B-movie slasher movie with it, with an Invisible Man, like an Invisible Man slasher movie done in Paul Verhoeven's violent, crazy batshit style. I love that. I love that, and I got a kick out of it. I still think it's a very fun, underrated movie. And it's... I mean, RoboCop and Total Recall I would put above it, but it probably would be in my top 3 favorite Paul Verhoeven films. It'd probably be... It goes back between RoboCop and Total Recall as number 1, number 2. And then Hollow Man would be number 3. I love it. But I didn't think they did that well at the box office, but I guess it did well enough on video or maybe overseas or something that ultimately they decided, I don't know, 5, 6, whatever years later, to do a direct-to-video sequel. Now, the guy directed it. I haven't seen much of anything he's done. I think he did maybe one of the 18 fucking Sniper sequels. Because I never thought that... I liked the first Sniper with Tom Berenger. I never thought that would get that big of a franchise, but go figure. Now, the people who star in it, no one from the first film, obviously. You have Peter Facinelli as his detective. I recognize him. If people remember a film called Supernova, the sci-fi movie with James Spader, Angela Bassett, a movie that got screwed around a lot during production and post-production, and is a very clunky, flawed film. Although I do like James Spader in it, and I could watch it for him, but it's a very clunky film. This guy played the bad guy in it. He played the main villain in Supernova. He's the star here. I don't think he's got the charisma to be a leading guy. I didn't really care about him. Him and this female detective, they're on the case where this guy at a party, this scientist doctor, seemingly drunk, he is going around causing a ruckus, unbeknownst to other people. An Invisible Man is pushing him around, gets to a bathroom, and the Invisible Man here is played by Christian Slater, which he was probably on set for 2 days, because you only see his face enough that would be for 2 days. One in a flashback scene, one at the end. The rest of it is just voice over. And I like Christian Slater. When he's the voice of the Hollow Man, he's not intimidating. Kevin Bacon sold that intensity, that psychopathic lunacy. I don't think Christian Slater does. Maybe because I just don't... Maybe I don't buy him as a bad guy. Because the stuff I like with Christian Slater is stuff like Cuffs and Broken Arrow, the skateboard movie, Gleaming the Cube, which needs a damn Blu-ray for Christ's sake. That's the stuff I buy Slater in. I don't really buy him as a villain. And when he's doing the voice, it's very kind of bland, ineffective. And of course, being a direct-to-video film is not nearly going to have the state-of-the-art special effects that the first film had. And so these detectives, this guy's been killed, his throat's been slit in a bathroom. They looked at a colleague of his, this lady scientist who becomes our second lead, Laura Regan. I recognize her. She was in the James Wan film Dead Silence. She was the wife of the lead character that got killed at the beginning of the film. So she's here as a scientist. Whether it leads to another, the lead guy's female partner is killed in a very blasé way because the Invisible Man's behind her. And it's one of those things that most of the effects are strings of holding objects, or you see a door open by itself. Much more of the old school variety, like how they would do invisibility effects back in the day. And he takes a flower pot and hits the girl in the head, and that's what made her die. I'm like, with all the deaths you would think you could get with Invisible Man, that'd be much more creative or gruesome or gory. It's really none of those. And the little bits of gore is like earlier on you get someone's throat slit, later on you get someone who gets a pin in the eye, but has a fairly low body count. Doesn't have as much of the style, none of the style, and not really much of the visceralness that the first Hollow Man had, thanks to Paul Verhoeven's direction. And then a good chunk of the film is almost trying to be like the Terminator and failing, because it's Peter Facinelli the cop, Laura Regan the scientist, Peter protecting Laura from the Hollow Man, just because Slater wants her because she has this thing called the Buffer, and not Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to be hollow. That'd be funny if she had Michael Buffer and he was... No, the Buffer, which is something that... This is like the slightest reference to the first movie during this exposition scene where she goes on about years ago there was these scientists and 2 were alive, but the government found the research and they wanted a weapon, of course, the ultimate soldier. And Slater was a test subject, and apparently when you get this thing there's some kind of radiation, and the Buffer's supposed to help that, but it didn't. So now Slater's character is dying, and if he doesn't have more of this stuff, he'll die in a month or so. So that's why he's on the warpath to get this girl, and to get this material. I know I'm like 8 minutes in. I thought this film sucked. I know I didn't get to the... I'm just talking about the plot, trying to set up. I thought this film sucked. Is it the worst direct-to-video sequel ever? No. It at least had the right idea of making a chase movie. So, for the most part, it's usually on the go. And, you know, for the low budget, some of the ways they try to do some of the invisibility stuff, yes, it's more in the vein of the Invisible Man back in the day, or Abbott Costello Meet the Invisible Man. But you know, you don't have to throw out the old tricks, because sometimes the old tricks can be alright in its effectiveness. But it just doesn't make nearly the impact or the intensity or the excitement compared to the first Hollow Man. And I just don't really care about the lead characters. Like I said, the lead guy, I know people said he looked too young, but I think he was like 33 years old, so when he did this, he just looks a lot younger. I didn't really, I just don't find him as a great leading man. I just don't, the charisma and the it factor that I'm really drawn to him and give a shit about his journey. Same with the scientist lady. They're not the worst actors ever. I just, on the flip side, didn't care. And, okay, there's one scene that kind of describes what kind of movie this is. Before... so fucking stupid. Christian Slater's trying to get to the scientist. The 2 cops are there. This is before the female cop is killed. So they're protecting this lady. They don't know who's going to be there, but they know this guy at the beginning at this party in the bathroom got his throat slit. So Christian Slater is watching them. But he's in a neighbor's house in the same room as a teen couple ready to have sex and film themselves. Where the guy is trying to film the girl, come on, take your top off. And she says the line, if you Paris me, I'm dead. As in Paris Hilton. I never knew Paris would or could be used as a verb. If you Paris me, I'm dead. And they're filming some naked times. And Slater's in the room, invisible, watching this. Why does he have to be in the fucking room? Now, I thought, okay, this is going to be his voyeur, like Kevin Bacon in the first movie. This is voyeur tendencies. He's going to be watching. He's going crazy. It's the voyeur in him. No, he pays no attention to the couple. He pays no attention to the lady. He pays no attention to the titties. Zero. Instead, they're filming, and I think at one point the lights go out or something, and I don't know if it's like night vision or something, and then he just pops in the camera like boo, like once or twice. Actually, no, like the girl says, "Okay, it's your turn." She passed. I think I saw something. I think I saw something again. He runs out, doesn't kill the two, doesn't do anything to the lady, doesn't even really look at the lady like, "Oh, look at those titties," just leaves. So if it was nothing to do with the voyeur homicidal tendencies, it was nothing to do with wanting to see naked titties, then why the fuck was he in the goddamn room, in their house? You're invisible. You could be outside anywhere. You could be outside any fucking where, any fucking place. Why? I'm invisible, so I'm gonna go into someone's house and I'm gonna be in this room and there's two people filming naked times, but I'm not gonna look at them. I'm gonna. Why? It's like such a stupid fucking reason to get titties in the movie, and you don't even work into the villain's psyche or the villain's tendency like it did in the first Hollow Man. Or is I got the power to do anything, and I could do this, I could do that, and they would never know. Not the case in this. It's so fucking stupid. And he doesn't even kill them, doesn't do anything. Doesn't even peep and Tom them. And that's where he gets over there, and he kills the female detective by just a flower vase to the head. Thought she was knocked out, but granted, in real life you can die from that. It just seemed very mundane for this kind of movie. And then soldiers arrive. And I shit you not, it becomes, okay, a chase movie where the soldiers at one point want the cop and the scientist, and of course the Hollow Men want the cop. Like, is this kind of like a weird version of Memoirs of Invisible Man? And dare I say that John Carpenter film with Chevy Chase is a better Invisible Man movie than this. I'm not a big fan of Memoirs of Invisible Man, but I'd rather watch that than this movie. I only think about that because it's a chase movie with government officials going after some people, your two lead characters, and it involves an Invisible Man. And again, that was a better one than this one. Probably helped that they had a little bit more budget to spend compared to this. So the soldiers come in, they're trying to get the Hollow Man who killed the guy's detective partner. And they're using these, I thought they were flash, but I think they're stun grenades. With bad effects. Very cheap looking effects. And so the two leave, they're on the run, and pretty much it becomes a chase movie. For some reason, they come across someone who's yelling, "Bacon is murder, bacon is murder, breakfast kills." I'm like, yeah, if you eat at Taco Bell, maybe, but. And I think the Hollow Man like pushes him, gets him the fuck out of the way. Never thought I would see a movie like this, and a phrase would be "bacon is murder," and "breakfast kills." We get a little bit of the flashback of Christian Slater, and they use the effects from the first movie. Like when he's turning and you see the veins, like they try to make it all murky because again they're stealing the transformation of Kevin Bacon and those effects. They're stealing it from the first fucking movie. And there might have been other effects they stole from the first movie. I can't remember. It seemed like it, but that's the prominent one. Like shit. So there's exposition. At one point, Christian Slater goes to see his commanding CO in order to find information. Probably one of the few kind of interesting bits is when he goes in the building, he's in the elevator, and there happens to be another worker there, but she's a blind lady. So they're kind of having a conversation because she doesn't know he's invisible, and he knows she doesn't suspect anything. So that has maybe a potential to be suspenseful. But yeah, I don't think this director's really the right guy for the job. I think this guy was just a gun for hire. Because I doubt they could find a lot of people to be like, okay, here's a sequel to a film that a lot of people didn't like. That's the thing, a lot of people didn't like the first movie. I'm one of those few that did like the first movie, but a lot of people didn't. And the film was not this box office bonanza. So you're making a sequel to the film that a lot of people didn't like. And then the few that did like me, oh, well, none of the first movie is bad. Paul Verhoeven's not bad. It's not going to have the budget. It's not going to have the skills. So they don't pass on it. That's why there's no Hollow Man 3. So they got some director gun for hire. Just shoot it and put it, have about 90 some minutes and have it released. And Slayer goes to see a CO. At one point, he gets stabbed with a pen. I guess the ink of the pen goes among him, and I don't know if that was an effect they made for this movie or if they stole from the first movie. And gets the guy's pen, shoves it in the guy's eye. Our two lead characters go find another guy, Ludlow, who was another guinea pig for the government. And pretty much he tells them that they purposely didn't give Slater the buffer because they wanted him to be this crazed guy to go kill politicians for them. Christian Slater arrives. Now, I guess he killed this Ludlow guy, but I just saw him smack the guy. Like, you'd think it would be some big death scene or gore scene. No, he just seemed like just smacked the guy, but I guess just by smacking him, we're to assume the guy died, I guess. That's what I mean. Like, there's not a lot of punch, other than maybe that eyeball, which you see via reflection, so it's not all out gore, but you see a little bit of reflection. But it's not a lot of punch and visceralness to this movie. And the way it's shot and the locations they shoot, it's direct-to-video land. There's nothing to run home about cinematography-wise, lighting-wise, music-wise. I remember reading somewhere that apparently this was the way this film was, for the most part, was kind of what the original script for Hollow Man was supposed to be. That the original script for Hollow Man was supposed to be this chase movie, and then Paul Verhoeven looked at it and said, no, I just want it all in the lab. I kind of think Paul Verhoeven made the right choice, because he could concentrate on this thing, and it was just much more of an interesting backdrop with the lab, and being trapped, and there's nowhere to go, and you're because you're trapped, there's a bit of that claustrophobic angle that you're stuck in this big tin can with this psycho who's invisible, and where can you go, and what can you do, how can you escape, to try to bring a bit of tension. While here it's the outside world, so, and even then the invisibility aspects aren't used to nearly their full potential because they didn't have the fucking budget for it. So one thing leads to another. Christian Slater gets the girl's sister, come meet with me or she dies. Christian Slater gets the girl. I guess his plan is he's going to inject her with an invisibility thing and they're both going to go invisible. Which I thought was a really stupid plan, because what if she... Okay, you know, make her invisible. I just, the idea being, well, you have to help. You have to help B, because help B will help yourself. Because if, you know, you'll get sick and die too. You'll need the buffer too. But I guess also it'll be better to get her out of there. But I say it's a very stupid decision, because let's say you make her invisible. What if she gets away? If she gets away, then you're not going to know where the fuck she's at. Because invisibility doesn't mean you have infrared vision. You don't have the predator vision, buddy. I'm going to inject her, but oh, what if she tipped me in the nuts or something, or got a good hit, lucky hit, and I lose the grip on her? You don't know where the fuck she's at then. She'd go to Borneo, for all you know, make some shit, because she knows how to make it, and la-di-da-di-da. You're screwed. You fucking idiot. I'll take her sister again. Well, if you have no way to contact her, then it'd be fucking useless. So it's a stupid fucking plan. Just so the detective gets there, there's a ruckus. And then the Invisible Man just grabs her anyway and drags her. And she's like, hey, someone help me. And no one does. And then the government officials are there because they want to cover up. The detective gets the broad idea to inject himself with the invisibility thing. Now you can argue, well, the officials outside are going to arrest him or do all this stuff to him, so it's a last resort. Others could argue maybe you try to find another way out before you do it, but whatever. So then Slater gets her to make this batch and inject him. But then Slater's going to kill her, which again didn't make any damn sense, because number one, I'm sitting there even thinking, how you know this shit she gave you works? Number two, when you run out of this, then what are you going to do? She's the only one that knows how to make it. If you kill the person that is the only one that knows how to make it, how are you going to get more? Maybe he thought this was... no, he didn't say it was the cure. I don't know. Just you just say the guy's not thinking in his right mind. And then you do get an Invisible Man fight. But it's so anticlimactic because it doesn't even last a minute. It literally lasts like 40 seconds. Because that's all the budget could afford. An Invisible Man fight in the rain for about 40 seconds. Where one hits another, and then another grabs the other and throws them. That's about as big as your Invisible Man fight. A whopping 30 to 40 seconds. Holy shit. Spoiler. She injected Slater with rat poison. So then, this is the second time we get to actually see Slater. Peter Facinelli is the other Invisible Man. Stabs him with a shovel. The lady's in the hospital saying that guy will come for me, but not in like a scary way, but you know, he'll see me soon. The guy's outside And then I guess maybe they thought there was going to be a Hollow Man 3. And whether, will this guy go crazy? Will it not? Because the one guy, Ludlow, he didn't go crazy and start killing people. Which I thought, I mean, I thought that was the whole thing, is that when you did it, you would start going crazy and kill people. Here, Slater seemed to be doing it just because this radiation thing, he's going to die if he doesn't. Not that it drives you insane, because the other guy, Ludlow, he wasn't driven insane. But maybe there's some info in the dialogue I missed. I know it's a long review. I didn't mean to make it that long, but it's just... It's a movie where... What is this appealing to? If it's appealing to fans of the first movie, there's not a lot of fans of the first movie. I'm one of the few of them. So you're appealing to that group, which is a small group as is, and then they see a sequel that is cheap direct-to-video, actors that are either slumming it like Slater, or there's a reason they never got to the bid time, like Peter Facinelli or Laura Regan. Ho-hum death scenes, lackluster special effects, the few that are in, a chase story that you've seen done better in The Terminator and many other movies, some dumb decisions, like Slater wanting to make the girl invisible to get him out when, what if she got the fuck out, one lucky hit or punch, and now how you don't find her. Or the being in a teen couple's room, not peeping, not killing them, just not even look at them, just, I'm going to stay here and watch. When they're invisible, man, you could be any fucking where. And then even like, okay, the idea of two invisible men fighting, number one, is kind of not much of a fight because you're not going to be able to see anything because they're invisible. Even then, they had such a cheap enough budget, they only had like 40 seconds to use. Like I said, is it the worst movie, the worst direct-to-video? No, far from it. Like I said, it went at a... It's just short enough film, and sometimes the invisibility gags, even with a low budget, where they do more of the Claude Rains, that more old school style, isn't too shabby for what budget they had. There's a lot of times people acting like someone's attacking them, but you get, for example, the Invisible Man gets hit by something and crashes through like a store window. That didn't look too bad for this type of direct-to-video film. Elements of that nature, but yeah, this is a pretty lame, forgettable sequel that no one asked for. Again, Slater, his voice just doesn't work on an intimidation factor, and it just missed the style and the visceral punch of Paul Verhoeven. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye.